flu season comes around, everyone has one decision to make. Should I get the flu shot or should I not get the flu shot? Well, according to the National Immunization Survey in 2013, 56% of Americans got the flu shot last year, which also means that 44% of people did not get the flu shot in 2013. Now, I do understand that there are some people that are medically predisposed and they actually cannot get the flu shot as it would do more harm than good to them. However, I do realize that not all 44% of Americans are medically predisposed in this manner. I do know that Americans like to make up excuses. And one of the biggest excuses that people make is like, okay, so I'm a healthy young adult. I am not probably going to get the flu. Why should I get the flu shot? Well, that's a very dangerous idea to have if the swine flu comes around, or it's a very dangerous idea to those around you, actually. So my proposition is that the individual avoidance of the flu vaccine is a major health concern. Okay, and I'm going to start by addressing some of the historical aspects of the flu, and then going into some examples about how the flu vaccine can not only harm you, or not getting the flu vaccine, can not only harm you, but those around you. Okay, so we're going to start with one of the biggest flu pandemics in all of history. 50 million people died in the year 1918 due to the flu. Now this was obviously before the flu vaccine had ever come to be. And so this is kind of an inaccurate number, as I mean, it was the worst in history. So let's fast forward about 91 years to the year 2009. The CDC estimated that 575,000 people died due to the swine flu in 2009. Now, the fact that only 1% of what the 1918 flu, the 1% of deaths compared to the 1918 flu, 575,000 is still a very high number for the average flu season. But it's not the number of people that were affected by the 2009 flu. It was the type of people that were affected. Those are the people who say, oh, I'm too healthy to get the flu shot. Those were the people that were affected. In 2009, 80% of the people that died were below the age of 65. Those are the people who say they're young and healthy. So if you don't get the flu shot, you could always be at risk of death. Now I'm going to start going into some examples as to how you not getting the flu shot can affect the people around you. I'm going to start with the example of a mother expecting a child. The mother goes online, looks up all of her data, and finds some lady who had some pregnancy problem after getting the flu shot. She doesn't want that to happen to her, so she doesn't end up getting the flu shot. Well, this mother contracts the flu within her first trimester of being pregnant. That child is now at risk of contracting a syndrome which could possibly kill, or not kill, but could possibly cause deafness within the child. This deafness and heart problems. This deafness and heart problems will plague the child for the rest of their life, and they really can't do anything about it. They were helpless at the time when their mother decided not to get the flu shot. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some who simply can't get the flu shot because either they have cancer and their immune system is too weak to handle the shot of any way. Those people rely on an idea by physicians called herd immunity. What herd immunity is the idea that the more people that you vaccinate, the less people get sick and the less the virus spreads. And the less the virus spreads, the less deaths occur. So, how these immunocompromised people rely on everyone else getting the flu shot is, if you get the flu shot and you don't contract the flu, then you don't have a chance of giving the immunocompromised guy, you don't have the chance of giving him the flu. And if he gets but if you do get the flu and he gets the flu, you might stay 3 days in bed, but he could die because of his weakened immune system. So, I mean, if that's, all that being said, I do feel that the individual avoidance of the flu shot is not only harmful to you, but it's also harmful to the people around you. That's it.
All right, Andrew, I think your opening question or example of a question helps suggest why there might be a little bit of controversy on this. And then the statistic about how many people don't get the flu shot also suggests that there is a divide in what people think is necessary or appropriate. So that gives you a little bit more justification for talking about this. You do clearly identify your proposition. The phrasing of it is fairly clear. I think it could be delivered a little bit more smoothly, but it was fine. The contents, though, when you present them, it's a narrative description of what's going on as opposed to a series of declarative statements. And then when you get into the body of the speech, it really feels like I'm listening to an informative speech about how flu shots work and how people perceive these things, instead of a declarative argument that says the failure to get the flu shot causes this harm, or the decision to do this puts X people at risk. In other words, you want your statements to be declarative in nature so that I know what your position is, and it's not just a discussion, it's an argument. And so I think that that's a place where there's a little bit of failure. I thought you did a pretty good job at the beginning suggesting a controversy, but in the body of the speech, it breaks down a little bit, and it just sounds, like I said, like it's an expository speech as opposed to an argumentative speech. I thought you had some pretty good explanations of those ideas when you were talking about them. You're also dependent, though, on hypothetical examples in a few cases, and it would be helpful if you had some more practical examples. The statistics, or the numbers that you had, I should say, because they're not exactly statistics, the number of people who died in 2001 from the swine flu, I'm assuming that's worldwide as opposed to in the United States, even though it is CDC data, because 500,000 people dying of the flu in the United States in that 1 year seems a little high to me. So I'm assuming it's worldwide. So then the question comes up, you say 80% of those who died were in fact under 60 years old, but of course their living circumstances are likely to be widely divergent from the living circumstances of people here. So I don't know if they got the care when they were sick that they would get someplace else when they're sick, let's say here. I mean, here you get the flu, you go get some medication that moderates the symptoms, and you survive those particular symptoms. Some other places in the world you may not have access to medications that moderate the symptoms, and people get weakened and die. There could be other issues. Their immune system gets depressed, and then they have other things that are opportunistic that take advantage of them that wouldn't have been able to take advantage of them except that they had the flu. And is that really this kind of situation that we're talking about here? I know it could be a worldwide argument. It sounds, though, mostly like you're talking about people's rationalization here in first world experience. I thought you did a pretty good job with the factual data on those points. You explain ideas well with the hypotheticals, proving the argument. Like I said, the statistics that you had there, I thought did the best job of making the argument that you had, but I do see that there's this one way in which this argument might be potentially less solid than it appears on its face here. All right, thank you.